64-bit versions. If you're only seeing 32-bit versions, then you have a problem. Most probably, you should enable virtualization in your BIOS settings, and in order to do that, please refer to the next lecture. If you come across any problems during this Linux installation, just refer to the next lecture. Okay? But if you see the 64-bit right now, just go along with it. And if you don't even see it right now, you can just do the rest of the settings as well, but most probably it won't work in your case. Then you're gonna have to do some problem solving, and I'm gonna walk you through it. Don't worry about it. But if you see the 64-bit, just choose it, and you have to choose the Debian, not something else, because Kali Linux is built on some distro called Debian. Okay? Now, of course, this is not it. We have a system tab here as well. In here, we have the base memory, which is actually the RAM. Now, in the RAM section, I allocated 2 gigabytes, but I have 32 gigabytes on my host machine, on my computer. So I have plenty. So I can actually allocate as much as I want. But you're more than welcome to give like 1 gigabyte over here. Like you can just write 1024 megabytes. Okay, so if you have 4 gigabytes of RAM, for example, then you can just allocate 1 gigabyte. Kali Linux works perfectly with 1 gigabyte, but if you have plenty like mine, then you're more than welcome to just give 2 gigabytes. Of course, giving it less or giving it more may worsen the things, so you have to find this like optimum thingy to allocate over here. So for the other features, I'm not gonna change anything, and I suggest you do that as well. Sometimes it doesn't work, and we have to come back over here and play with these features. So for example, in the APIC enable IO epic here, epic of feature over here, it should be enabled, but I have seen some cases when people disables this, it works, but when they enable it, it doesn't work. So I recommend you don't change anything here, okay? Just leave it as it is, and if it doesn't work for some reason, then come back and play with it. Just disable it and try one more time. Now for the system tab, again, I forgot to show you the processor. If you go to the processor, then you can allocate processor numbers as well. So I have 16 CPUs apparently, and I have allocated 2. And again, you're more than welcome to just allocate it 1. Okay, it works good with 1 CPU as well. But since I have plenty, I'm just giving 2, and I'm not changing any other features over here, like I said before. And that's it. So I haven't even changed anything. I'm just using the defaults, as you can see right now. Now that is great, and we have to actually look over some of the other features here as well. You're more than welcome to just come over here to display. We won't change anything over here. Most probably it's all fine, but if you see video memory like 0 megabytes, then you're just gonna have to give some. All the green values, all the green ranges are okay, so don't overthink it. In the storage case, so remember the OVA or the VDI file that I have shown you. So VDI is actually connected here to the controller SATA section over there. Now that is how it works. Okay, now VDI is connected over here. So most probably you will see that in this case. So don't change anything over here. Don't touch anything. But if some reason, if you don't see it, okay, for some reason, if it cannot be found over here, let me show you what I mean. I'm gonna detach it from here. Okay, I'm gonna detach it. Don't do that. Okay, if you see something like that, if this is empty or if there isn't anything over here, then you're gonna have to connect it manually. Now there are 2 buttons over here, one for optical drive and one for hard disk. We want the hard disk one. If you click on that, you can just add the file. Okay, find the VDI file on your browser here, and just double click on it and choose it, and it will be connected. And again, if you see it over there, you don't have to do anything. 99% of the time you don't have to do anything, so just don't touch it. But I'm showing you to let you understand how this works. Okay, And that's it for the VDI. This is how they're connected. For the audio, we don't have to change anything. And again, for the storage, if you're working with the OVA file, it should be already there, so just don't worry about it at all. So for the audio, I'm not going to change anything. For the network, we're actually going to change something. So remember, we have created a NAT network when we set the VirtualBox up for the first time. Then we're going to have to just change it. Like right now, it works in NAT. We're not wanting NAT. We want NAT network. Okay, so if you change the NAT network, you can just choose the name. This is the name that you created before from the VirtualBox settings. And in the advanced settings, make sure you change the promiscuous mode to allow all. Okay, right now it should be deny. Just find allow all from here and just change it. So that's great, allow all. So I have changed, actually I only changed this part. Remember, we already use all the defaults in the General tab, System tab, Display tab, Storage tab. I only changed this. So I changed this from the NAT to NAT network and I hit OK. And that is all. So make sure you got everything right. We're using all the defaults. Just make some changes if necessary, but don't forget to change the network over here. It should be NAT network. And after you're done, then all you gotta do is just hit the start button. Now when you hit the start button, if you get like an error message, don't worry about it, just go to the next lecture. Sometimes it helps if you close it up and try to open it from here, like clicking on the little arrow over here and say open headless. Okay, but we're gonna talk about it in the next lecture, don't worry about it. Right now, if you manage to run this Kali Linux, then it is great, everything is working out for you. Now we have to log in. It asks us a username and a password. So if you downloaded it from the Kali org, then your username is Kali, okay, and the password is Kali as well. Right now I'm writing Kali, but if you're using something else like a maybe non-English keyboard, it may not display the right keys for you. So for example, if you have something like a very similar to I in your own alphabet, it may not be displaying the things, so you have to just find the right I for you. Okay, just hit on random elements on your keyboard. But if you have downloaded the OVA from my link, then the username should be root and the password should be TOOR. Okay, so of course you have to write TOR in the password and the root in the username section, but I have just written it over here so you can see it. But if you downloaded it from Kali Linux, kali.org, then it should be Kali. And don't worry about the keyboard thing. I'm going to show you how to change your keyboard and how to make it to your local keyboard as well. But if you see the screen, that is great. Everything is working out for you. Now, as you have seen, I made it into a full screen and it works fine. If it doesn't work fine for you, don't worry about it. I'm going to show you how to change the screen resolution. I'm going to show you how to change the keyboard settings and everything in the next section. But right now, what I want to show, I want to turn this off. Okay, so I want to click over here and say power off the machine. It will just power off the machine and we can start it. Again, we can start it anytime we want from the VirtualBox itself. This is great. Now, if you have made it this far, if you manage to run the Kali Linux, that is great. And you won't be dealing with any kind of problem solving. But if you got any error, then you're going to have to go to the next lecture. Depending on your operating system, maybe even the next lecture, the lecture after that, because we have different lectures for Mac OS problem solving and Windows problem solving. We have a documentation for problem solving. You have to review that. We have thousands of questions answered before regarding the installation problems. You have to review them. Of course, if you cannot solve your problem anyhow, then you're more than welcome to open a question in the Q&A section, but most of the time people just solve these problems by looking at the following lectures. Okay, so don't worry about the problems, you will solve this. And beware that we will be having like a full-scale Linux introduction lecture or sections in the upcoming section. So if you're curious about how to use the Kali Linux, then we're gonna see it. Don't worry about it. See you in the next one.